Yo, 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 uh, yo, 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 send me the space. New age is the KKK. Fear be the new black. Facebook is a play-by-play. Media feeding your bullish. I'm so hungry. In defeat, we retweet sound bites so that we can't say. I'ma get involved. I'ma have flyers in the mall. I'ma take a selfie with a sticker and then post it on my wall. I'ma search for some celebrity because apparently my friends are racist. I'ma block them on Instagram, then post a photo of a racist. I'ma check in a standing rock. I'ma live stream this. Smoke till I can't feel itch, vising this. Find a way to pass the time cause my lives don't mean ish. If my lines don't mean ish, then my rhymes don't mean ish. I'm either apathetic or I'm filled with rage. My parents voted Trump and they know I'm gay. Feeling really awkward, don't know what to say. Seen a swastika on a cartoon day. Feeling overwhelmed, apocalypse now. Look to the sky and I see gray clouds. Parting in the middle, fire raining down. Burning earth, trumpet sound. Temper the earth with the rise over the tides. Killing everything is alive, that is alive. Worship for the power and wealth and the inside. God is the bed of the earth.
Chris Conde in the studio today for TPR Live. Welcome and happy Friday.
Hi, happy Friday.
Oh my gosh. So that was your first song. Tell me about it.
That is Apathy and Rage. It is a track I did a collab with the producer Venetian Snares. He's a pretty relatively famous like glitch core jazz like producer, like in the vein of like Aphex Twin and Square Pusher and that. That's so awesome. But yeah, he's I collaborated with him on a song a couple years ago, and we were like, I was like, hey, like send me something on a weird time beat, and so he sent me something in 9/8.
Wow.
And so I was like, let's try to do something weird, and I did it, and he's like, this is dope, and I'm like, cool. So he actually. Yeah.
Do you collaborate with artists and people make beats for you, or do you do that yourself most of the time? How does it work?
I make beats for like as like a hobby, like that I don't tell anybody about, you know, like just for fun processing, especially if I'm like feeling blocked lyrically. I can just go in and like, you know, write a beat. But I feel like there's so many amazing, talented producers and artists out there that I'm so focused lyrically on trying to like make everything very technical and the best rap that I could possibly be, and these like really fun patterns, and then being able to connect on someone else's pattern is really fun for me. So
it's like a challenge, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Gosh, the video you did recently, you put out August?
Yeah.
With MC Homeless.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that project, because the video was like intense, like nightmare.
Yeah. MC Homeless, man, there's a small network of like alternative indie rappers throughout the United States, and all of us are like kind of relatively connected, and he's up in Austin, but we met through a Chicago rapper. We played a show together up in Austin while that Chicago rapper was on tour. His name is Polythink, and we kind of have a similar sound, kind of an industrial, weird sort of rap thing. And he's like, dude, I really would love you on a track. And I'm like, cool. And he's like, we're gonna do a video for it. I'm like, dope. So like, actually, we were filming in the woods in Austin, and they're like, we got one more scene we want to do with you. What do you want to do? And I'm like, let me just get naked. So I'm like in like black metal corpse paint, yes, and like combat boots, and like there's a photo on my Instagram where I'm like,
it's amazing. Anybody listening, you should check that out.
I'm like, I posted it because like my boyfriend posted a photo of himself in the shower and it got tagged and flagged, and I was like, well, I'm gonna post a photo of me halfway naked and see if it does, and it didn't get taken down. And I'm like, pushing
the boundaries there, yeah.
Trying to push them.
In general, though, I mean, I feel like your style is unique and distinct and very in your face. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's an accurate representation of who you are in general. But you do perform as personas also. Tell me about that.
Diamond Daggers is my my drag queen alter ego. She is her higher power is Satan, and she is very obsessed with the occult. It's just like my ego. It's like everything it's like the Kanye, you know, like, you know, there's this like you know how like hip hop has that like I'm the ish, I'm like the best, you know, whatever, and like Diamond Daggers is a way for me to express that like inner vagina.
Do you write different songs for that persona, or do you perform your own songs as Diamond Daggers?
Both, you know, like there's actually a song I'm going to perform here called Diamond Daggers, and it's just like really a lot of it is basically like I am, especially being in like hip hop, which is sort of a masculine machismo space, being able to be like as like aggressive but very female too is like really important to me. And so being able to like play these hip hop shows and be able to like queer a space out with as aggressive energy as males is like, for me, I want to balance that out. And so like Diamond Daggers is a way for me to be able to do that and be like very in your face, very hip hop, but like in a way that's positive. You know, it's like, hey, like, you know, like women, like my favorite rappers, you know, growing up were like Lil' Kim and Missy Elliott, and like I wanted to channel that while I was like, you know, and I feel like I'm I don't know, like those are my, like they raised me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, could talk to you all day, but let's hear some music.
Okay, cool.
What are you gonna do?
Let's do No Air. This is produced by La Def from House of Kenzo.
Nice.
We have the music. This is the music video we put out a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, something like that. Spitting on the track with the venom of a viper. Old school feel like I got up in a cipher. I'm the type of rapper eat you like a tiger. Snap your neck and knock your body with my super hyper flow. Oh, so incredible. Rappers hold grudges and I'm like, bro, let it go. I am the best, give it a rest. You wanna test? Let me know. I can spit a verse better than anyone I've ever known. Give me a sec. I'm a gay boy with a vengeance. I stack up these bars like a fat kid with Nestle. So rest these perceptions you straight kids just guessed it. Yeah, so I slow my breasts and I'm a regular. Like I'm better than the not regular, spectacular. Like a sequence through the Dracula. I'm taking a second, I'm back in a second. They ask for gay rap. So when you actually hear what I'm saying, they know what the shit with an impact. So step back, get blasted with my rainbow flow. Intergalactic, call me space homo. It's a fact, my raps are made of gold. Fantastic, elastic. I'm like, oh my god, I hear so much bullish. Today's a rap's a reason now we all are stupid. Like shut the hell up, man. Your mouth is like you're pooping. These are all the dudes that we expect to feel the movement. F. We're in a weird age of hip hop. If queer becomes mainstream becomes it's pop. Give me one more reason to just spit all. Murder all these rappers, smash the heads of really big rocks. Chris Conde has a Kenzo. We play like Nintendo. Chris Conde has a Kenzo. La Def, where you at? I'm not trying to create my own genre of hip-hop, cause this rapper probably ain't appealing to disc jocks. Catch me rocking Marilyn Manson t-shirts with flip-flops and lip glosses, not this. Talk to someone else. What you know about me? What you know about me? What you know about me? What you know? I said your hip-hop is dumb. Your hip-hop is stopping the growth of intellect. It's the mind that you be robbing. So take a minute to hear what you spit. It's limited and definitive. It's refitted between your lips and distributed to ears that hear it and live it. Thinking your lyrics like litter with heads taking and some mess in their hands. But I'm backing and you rappers got hands with the crowd and I smack you. I'm packing my raps with a bag of attack and tarantulas, taking to pieces like raptors. Life's a movie, you're a really bad actor. Crack a safe and find a place to stash that loot. After the limelight, you're gonna need a way to buy groceries. You didn't think you could rhyme, right? Kings and queens of the blind hype. Kings and queens of the blind hype. Yo.
This is Chris Conde in this video. I don't know how I mean, rap in general, but you just spit so fast. Like,
Yeah.
how much do you practice before you perform a song?
You know, like writing raps is a very tedious process for me. I have been influenced by the likes of like Busy Bone and Eminem and Busta Rhymes and a lot of East Coast hip hop, which is very like compact, you know, like lyrics. It's a little bit less like chill, like laid back, like a lot of West Coast rappers especially back in the 90s when I was growing up. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, because sometimes I hate myself when I get on stage and I'm just like, why'd I have to like put like 300 words inside this like 30-second verse, you know? And so, and I don't really mean to do it on purpose, but like sometimes I just have a lot to say.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what, you know?
It's
But I don't really practice a whole lot because I actually write kind of relatively slow, you know? And so it takes me like, I would say like, it can take at least like 3 hours for like one verse.
Wow.
Because I'm like trying to like fit I'm trying to find the perfect way that these syllables and words can go together in a way that my mouth can say them and that it's clear. And so sometimes like I'll be rapping and I'll be practicing a song and I'm like, you know what, the doesn't work here, so let me move a word around so that the shape of my mouth, like if there's too many if there's too many P's or too many like I have to like, it's easier if I go like from one side of my mouth to the other because it's like goes back and forth, my tongue can move. But if my tongue is like in one place of my mouth, then I have to like change the word so I can like say it faster.
That's so interesting.
But it's
like a musical jigsaw puzzle or something.
Yeah, it's a tedious process, but it's fun, you know. And like for whatever reason, I'm an artist. Like from my core, like I am, you know. I've always just been this like weirdo, like just I don't know, just crazy. And so like hip hop literally is like my medium. Like it's not like I don't want to do it. It wasn't necessarily like because it was cool or because it was just like I was drawn to it, like the rhythm and everything. Like I'm a drummer as well. I also play different instruments, but like being able to communicate through syllabic patterns and rhythms, my like experience as a person, especially now, like, you know, in the political state that we're in, being able to like communicate my life experience as a queer brown person in hip hop. And being able to share like kind of like what I've gone through in my lens is like really important. And so it seems like everything is like kind of come together to be able to like, you know.
You mentioned the machismo thing with rap earlier. I feel like you're so well known here in San Antonio that venues are safe spaces for you. But when you go on tour, have you ever experienced any pushback about that, or are you careful to play with artists that you know will be receptive, their audiences will be receptive?
Playing in other cities is it's never really been an issue, especially when it's like a hip hop show, because I was actually telling Vince like the first two songs, like most of my audience is like, what is happening? Like he is voguing and he's like this like 300-pound like tattooed bear rapping really fast over these like industrial beats. Like, does he belong here? So everyone's just like, what is going on? And then like usually like by the third or fourth song, like I see head nods, you know. That's and awesome. Like people come up, you know, I had a straight white guy come up to me and he's like, dude, you made me cry, and I'm not even gay, and like what you're talking about is like so important. I was like, intriguing. That's so weird. Yeah. And it was up in Austin. I was opening up for Shredders. They're connected to Doomtree out of Minneapolis. But yeah, it's I don't feel unsafe. That's
you
know,
to hear.
Which is awesome. But I'm also like a thick you know,
ready.
So like my experience is different, and I'm privileged in that way, and I recognize that privilege, you know, because it's like there's tons of queer artists that don't feel safe playing in, you know, different spaces. So that's why like I wanted to start, you know, Queers and Beers like a couple years ago, and like creating these like showcases for queer artists to be able to like, we'll go and like queer out a space like we did for like Paper Tiger, and like, you know, we're doing one at the Mix at the end of the month on September 27th, you know, with Moody Black. It's a female trans rapper. They do industrial stuff. She's on tour and just hit me up and was like, hey, can you get us a show? And I was like, you know what, let's just do Queers and Beers together. And so, you know, like we're like queering out the mix. That's, you know, of all like, you know what I mean?
Hard to imagine. I love it.
Yeah.
Though.
So it's gonna, you know, we have Miss Taint. She was on the cover of The Current last year for like the new school drag artists in San Antonio, and she does like horror drag, and like I mean she's rumored to like have like basically like opened up like a cow heart and let it like bled on top of her like in like this is all rumors. I didn't see it, but I was like,
come out to the Mix on September 27th.
So it's gonna be a good mix of stuff. But yeah.
So. What you got up for us next?
The next one is Diamond Dagger. So this is like the persona of my alter ego, basically, and she's basically just like, there's like a line in there where it's like, do you remember the movie Hocus Pocus? Yes. So like there's like the black flame candle where like they light it, and I actually like use that in my rap. I'm like, black flame candles on my mantle, and I was like, yes, and I was like saying yes to myself at like 3 o'clock in the morning, like writing this.
Will never get it.
I'm just like, I hope somebody hears this and knows like that I'm talking about Hocus Pocus so bad.
That's amazing.
So here it is.
Let's do it.
Yo, this one is for the people. Call me Evil Knievel, cause I'm stunting. Hit me run up inside your cerebral, then that's straight ignited. Yo, your brain's on fire. I stimulate your senses with pencils and pens, papyrus. I got a virus, my flows are sick, and I just can't help it. Every time I spit, it's like a touch from Midas. This ish is golden, just like this mic I'm holding. I'm heavier than tidal waves rising up from the ocean. My notion as a vocalist is to invoke the dopest ish in hopes of coast to coast. These kids can know how heavy flows can get. Like back when Moses rose his staff to split the sea in half. I laugh when I hear rappers try to rap and spit. More like rapping ish. Slap these bastards back a bit with my syllabic acrobatic ninja master raps I get. Crazy sorta like a manic, having panic fits. I think I might be the best gay boy rapper that has ever lived. Yeah, diamond daggers, they trying to grab her, pull her from ladders, mess with they sadder, mess with they psyche, saying that it might be the Antichrist in pennies, tights, and Nikes. Bite me, black flame, candles on my mantle, mother, you don't really wanna gamble, but the business that you cannot handle, I dismantle all these busted faces, more like traces of my flow, these queens are tasteless, it's you, basic, I know it's miraculous, the back when I started to rap again, ravenous every night that I would have to write, thinking sure every line's crafted with a flow incredible, should have kept another go, never knowing how it's going, but I feel like I was closer than I'm gonna rapping at the funerals, so we'll lift my voice right up into the sky as a proclamation, every verse I breath into the earth is a demonstration of a magazine flow, lyrics are diamond and gold, murder in every show, gripping the money and I get the riot, it's like the size of the earth as a whole, Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Again, for anybody that's just joining us, TPR Live featuring Chris Conde today. So this is a cleaned up version of your normal set. Plus, you're not normally sitting, in a place. So what would someone expect to see at a live show?
I've been getting naked, like on, like I don't know what it's been, but like
it's summer in Texas. You're allowed.
Yeah, but like I started dating this dude maybe like back in March, like during South by, and like it's made me, I don't know, it's like not that I needed like any kind of affirmation, but like for whatever reason, like I felt more comfortable. I've just been naked a lot more now, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm kind of cute thick, and I just am like pushing that like, queer sexiness, thick, all that different stuff, and I'm like I feel like I embody. I'm like 350 pounds, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, whatever, I'm gonna be thick.
Own it.
And I'm gonna, and so like I found like this like leather jock strap at like some like shop on St. Mary's, and I was like, you know what, like I'm kind of cute in this. And so like the other day I was performing with Miss Taints and some other drag queens, and I was like, I was wearing it, I'm just like, I'm just gonna take my clothes off.
Just do what you feel.
Yeah.
Very eccentric, yeah.
But I'd say like like I say gay slurs in my raps, and a lot of it is just like it's not so much that like I'm like, please don't ever call me those words, like, but I use it as almost like I'm like, I have been called those things. You know what I mean? Like I've lived in areas of the United States where like people have called me those things, and people have called me like Latin slurs, and then I'm like, I look a little Asian too, so people call me like Asian slurs too, which is like, I'm just like, get your slur right. Be like, I am not that, okay?
So it's just you owning it again.
Yeah, me owning it, and then it's also just like, oh, you think I'm this, so it's like, oh, well, like, I'm going to like I'm just some, F word, so I'm just going to be this F word that's going to be like in your face and can rap better than you.
Defy all your expectations.
Right, and it's like that, and that's like kind of the ego side of like Diamond Daggers, like, but that beat actually, that was produced by my friend Angel. She goes by Fire Tools. She's based in Chicago. We used to live together back when I lived in Baltimore before I lived in Texas, and she just put a new record out, that got reviewed in Rolling Stone.
That's amazing.
I was just like, what? Like,
I know you.
Yeah, when she got in Pitchfork like a couple years ago, I was like, dang, like I know her. And so we've been like continuing to collaborate. Like she's produced half of this album, and she's mixing and mastering it right now, and it should be out in the fall.
I was just gonna say we got a question on Facebook about when your next record's gonna
Yeah,
drop.
it's like it's 12 songs. It's mostly produced by Angel, Mark Lloyd, from Fire Tools. She's like the most like, she's insane. Like there's like a video of her when she was like 5 years old playing through the first Rush album on drums, and like just is like insane, like amazing artist. Like anything she puts her hands to, she's just like.
You know, a lot of musicians, and you are the music editor of the San Antonio Current.
Yeah.
So how does do you feel like that gives you more insight when you're doing writing about musicians, being a musician yourself? Or?
Definitely, yeah. I think sometimes people think I get more privileged from it, and I'm like, I don't, like
It's like you can cover yourself, right?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, exactly. So I definitely, like I was talking to, there's this artist that this band I just reviewed, Midnight Cleaners. They're amazing. They're a 4-piece out of here. I think the drummer is in Sunjammer. But just talking to them, and like I know the recording process. I've been in bands. Like I've been, I've been trying to like build my own music career. And so like being able to like talk to them and seeing like where they're at, I know kind of like where they're coming from. So I definitely think it's definitely been an asset, but I think there's a lot of people that like think that, that I get shows because of my position, and I'm just like, I've been playing shows for like I played shows for free for like the first 3 years that I moved here, like from 2008 to 2011. Like I was playing gig, and like gig would hook you up with like free recording, so that was cool. But like there were so many spots where I would just jump on stuff, and like I was at the J. Cole show a couple weeks ago, and he was like, if you see people like if you see people like really successful and where they're at, realize that like there's no overnight success. There's no overnight anything. And if you see people like really like living luxurious or like thinking that they're in a better spot than you, it's like either it's not lasting or you didn't see their come up, And I feel like there's a lot of people who, and I don't think about this a lot, but like it happens to me. Like people get emails like, oh, like I'll see a little shade thrown my way, and I'm like, girl, like I was like homeless at like just, like I literally when I was in this like really bad time in my life, I didn't have any money. I was living at Haven for Hope, and they gave us food and stuff, but I was like not near the shelter, and I had my banjo with me, and I went and like traded a song for a muffin at like Joseph's Bakery when it was still there. I think is it still there?
No,
yeah.
I wish it was.
Yeah, and like I was like, can I play a song for a muffin? They're like, yeah, and I was like, cool.
You've been on. People don't realize how long you've been on this grind.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think that's like a lot of the things that a lot of new bands ask me are like, what do I do? I'm just like, you just continue to do it, continue to grind, continue to like put new, like content, like play music and play as many shows as you can. The conversations we've been having for like 10 years. Yeah. Like I think I met you when I was on acid.
Oh my God, it was so long ago. I can't even. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a random day. I was like I don't promote drug use. Like I'm sober. I'm actually sober now, but like that was like the first and the only time I ever did acid. I'm like, this is dumb.
Tried it.
I'm like, the sky is the devil, the ground is the ocean, and I want to get off this roller coaster.
Oh my gosh, I could talk to you forever, but we should probably do some music too.
Let's
so
do.
What's up next?
So I'm gonna do an a cappella version of this song called "Growing Up Gay." This was actually the first song that I did with. It's produced by my friend Ryan out in California, but it was a Venetian snare sample. And it's basically a Venetian snare sample, like slowed down and looped. And I was like, there's no way that like I can just put this out without getting some sort of like like clearance. And so I actually hit Venetian snares up like on Facebook, like, hey, can I like use this? And he's like, yeah, totally, it's cool. And I'm like, dope. But
nice.
It's kind of a fast song, and I wanted to slow it down and just do it a cappella because it's basically about, it's like very like my life. So this is Growing Up Gay. I don't really rap about it, felt no need to explain it, because being gay was just a facet of what I was relating. Getting sober was more the boulders on my shoulders and waiting on my lyrical writing processes back when I first came in to the scene. I mean, I think I'm always keeping it honest as much as anyone can, especially with all this vomit of hate invading that sprayed, raped, and painted upon us. I've waited a lot of years to explain my story, so I'ma relate a little of growing up gay and little and finding out you don't like the same stuff as they do in middle school. A kid confused about liking dudes, hoping it's not true. What will I do if I'm accused, yo? Maybe it's all cool. Will and Grace is on TV, so maybe it's all good. But why do I feel like God hates me if it is all good? It's really weird. I think I'm queer, so maybe beer was the answer. And the more that I drink, the more I think I'm less of a cancer. What kind of 12-year-old thinks that? I think back and I'm grateful I didn't lean back on that railing in Turkey and succumb to the lurking thoughts of suicide and self-hurting. I'm glad I'm not burdened by my internalized homophobic unworthiness. Lift my skinny fist to the heavens like I don't deserve this ish. Like God, I don't deserve this ish. I'd rather drown, be buried alive, and never heard from again. Yo, it took a long time for us to get here, so you will recognize all that we have been through. It took a long time for us to get here, so you will recognize all that we have been through. A couple years later, I'm trying to find a savior, someone to rescue me from all of my depression, despair, and anxiety. So one night I find myself inviting a higher being into my life for the first time, and I'm like, finally, I feel peace for the first time. I don't think for the first time in a long time about being deceased in the wrong kinds of ways. But in the back of my mind, I know I decided to deny my inner self that I'm gay. But if I pray real hard, they say these feelings will fade, that my attraction to men will all be taken away. But I never noticed the change, and I spent those next years a slave to a dogma that caused a lot of empty bottles and veins filled with painkillers. Insane feelings of shame, I hate feeling like I just plain hate feeling. So I drank, snorted, shot, smoked, stared at the ceiling, slowly falling into a void of oblivion. But with a little bit of back and forth and a couple little slips, I decided it was time for a life I can live. It was time for a switch, for a flip in the switch. With a flick of a switch, caught a glimpse of a kid underneath all this ish. I believe I'm a gift, I believe I can live. Yeah, I'm waving a flag with a rainbow with it, and I'm taking no ish. Yeah, I'm taking no ish. Orlando 2016, Pulse nightclub shooting. The song is for that. For every gay kid out there who was ever made to feel bad or ashamed of things you can't change, yeah, it's with you I stand. We're equal to humanity, we are never less than. Thank you.
Chris Conde. And when did you write that?
I wrote it right after the Pulse nightclub shooting. We were getting ready for Queers and Beers, and I was listening to like NPR, listening to TPR.
Love it. Shout out.
And they were playing like the freaking like phone calls of like the, or they were reading like the texts and like the messages from like the victims to like their parents and family members, and I was driving, like just trying to process it, and then like I think I had to go to like Radio Shack, like the only Radio Shack that was probably left in the San Antonio or the United States, and to pick up a piece of equipment, and I park and I just bawl, and I'm just like, I hadn't cried like that in so long, but I thought about like, if it was like my friends like Alice and Alonzo or like, Pink Leche or like Amia or like all these friends that I've played shows with, like that could have been any of us. That could have been my sister who's gay, who could have been, anyone that I've known that was just out like
dancing.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it really hit me like, I don't know, it hit me really hard. And I started to think about how it was during Pride too, and I started thinking about how a lot of people don't recognize that like Pride isn't just like going out to celebrate like and being glitter and like rainbow flags and all this stuff. It's like we as LGBTQs have to process internalized shame and gay shame before we get to gay pride. That's why we celebrate gay pride. Like I have to process that I've been conditioned to believe that there's something inherently wrong with me, and I have to get through that and then get to the other side, and that's a journey. And it's like, and it was a long journey for me because I was like, a Christian for a long time, and I just like, you don't just stop like. You don't just like flick of a switch, like stop like being homophobic because of like how you've been conditioned as like, you know, a believer. It's like to believe that like there's something wrong with like homosexuals or that it's a sin. It's like you internalize it, you know? And so I wrote the song basically being like, this isn't just like, you know, this is basically what pride is, you know? Like I had to go through so much stuff in my life to be able to get to where I'm at right now, feeling and I'm like, it's like, I love myself and I'm proud of myself, but it's like there's really nothing I can change about it, so I might as well celebrate it, you know? So being able to celebrate, it's not just celebrating like that we're queer, it's like celebrating like the journey that we like, the journey of getting to where we are.
What you had to go through to become what you already were,
right?
Essentially.
And so like I felt like a lot of people, you know, there was so many people saying so many different things about like the shooting and everything else, and it's like all these people like went through that journey and it was hard for them, and you're like not calling this like a terrorist act, like what, you know what I mean, like no. So so I wrote that song, you know, and I was like, I don't really rap about it, felt no need to explain it, but I'm gay. And this is what I went through.
The acapella is very striking too.
Yeah. I actually do it more acapella now. It's gonna be on like with the beat on the album, but like when I perform it live, I'm also like heavy and like running around on stage, like it's like almost like, all right, let me do a poem. And I can catch my breath, you know, and like people can actually hear my words, and I'm actually rapping things, you know, and saying things. So but yeah, and it's really, it's sort of weird, like I wrote it for me, you know, and it's been so strange, like people coming up to me and being like, wow, like this is intense, you know. I'm like, cool.
So was that the third or fourth? How many more do we have?
We have one more.
One more? Okay,
Yeah,
so before we do the last one, I do want to, you mentioned that you're sober now and you talk about the, you know, your past substance use. Do you find that as a lot of venues are, you know, bars also, and like the live music is so intertwined with the drinking culture here, and I would imagine elsewhere. Has that been hard for you? Was that a process? Do you find it difficult to be in that environment, or is it not a problem?
I think it was hard at first because, you know, I didn't stop playing shows when I got sober because I refused to, and I maybe I should have been more careful, you know. But I was like, you know, like I didn't get sober for my life to just be like some boring, you know, thing. I got sober to get my life back, you know, like when I was using, there's this Aziz Ansari like bit where he's talking about going to hang out with Kanye West, and Kanye West is like jamming to one of his old records, and I was like, man, this is the ish, you know. And I used to do that, like freebasing cocaine, listening to my old recordings, being drunk off whiskey, being like, wow, I used to sound really good, and I wasn't writing or wasn't producing anything, you know. And so
to get back to that place,
so getting sober was like allowed me to like continue to like do what I love, which is like, you know, writing hip hop and processing my life. So at first it was weird, but I gave myself rules. Like I was like, as soon as I feel uncomfortable, whether or not I played my set or not, I'm going to leave.
Get out of there.
You know, and I would, you know, there wasn't ever a time where I luckily was able to get my, you know, set done. I don't think there was a time where I like left before my set, but like there'd be times where I'm like, I wanted to kick it and wanted to network, you know, and hang out with people, but I'd just be like, I don't feel comfortable, and I would leave, you know. And so being able to just listen to myself, and today, you know, like I don't even think about it. I'm like very pro like marijuana. I'm pro like I think the amazing things. I mean, like whiskey and all this stuff. I'm just like, have fun, like live. Like the human experience is so. Like we're all just doing the best we can, and we deal with so many different things and so much different pain and hurt, and it's like if you can find joy and like and having a good time and like being able to drink, and you're able to drink, by all means have a beer. You know, like have some whiskey, like it's not gonna bother me, you know. And so yeah, I'm very like
strong will, Chris Conde.
Well, it's not awesome. It's not even that. It's just like, you know, I realize that like as soon as I put any kind of substance that changes the way I feel to that degree, you know, like caffeine and stuff like that, like I'm fine, you know. But like if something gives me that kind of a head change, like I will just do it till the nth degree. And I'm just like, I I don't have that. I can't afford that. You know what I
Recognize
mean?
that,
So,
though, yeah.
you know.
Well,
but
congratulations on
Yeah,
that. How many
thank
years
you.
has it been?
It was 4 years in June.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
fantastic.
So it's been a crazy ride.
So we got one more, right?
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's actually about. I wrote this about a year ago. I had stopped. I have to do things. So I'm in recovery, which means like I'm connected to a community of other people who are in recovery, and I have to do certain things every day and throughout the week to like keep myself sane. It's almost like taking medicine. And so I went through a process where I was not taking my medicine, so to speak. And I wrote this song, and yeah, so here it is. This is called Dividing Lines. Yeah. I'm sick of lying, sick of dying, I'm sick of using excuses proven useless to me, diffusing my movement, diluting improvements, illusions, protruding my usefulness to myself or anyone who chooses to do this, but do this isn't easy. I'm leaning over the median. I'm thinking, is it easier to just drink and smoke weed again? I'm sinking in these toxic thoughts of locked in boxes, but haven't tossed out. My God, I'm scared and nauseous of the consequence. I can't comprehend this pain subsiding, so I hide inside my rhymes and wait for light to find me. I've been blinded by the writhing in my chest, so I decide if I was next to satisfy and satiate. Hush the quake of bacon, breaker, 1-9, universe, are you listening? Want to kill myself, but I know that my mom will miss me. What am I supposed to do? What the hell is missing? Wrote this song before, man, this rap just feels like a lip sync. Am I really crazy? Am I just depressed? I'm smoking cigarettes, my apartment's a really mess. I guess I'm lazy, but when I wake up, I can't get dressed. And if I'm not working, I mostly just stay in my bed. Am I dead? Am I a ghost? I almost hope so, cause bro, I really know it's all a show on repeat for you living folk. But seriously though, I just don't know. Lost my flow, my rhythms change, my skin is strange, I feel insane, I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. And then the second verse is kind of basically how I recognized that the ball was always in my court, that I was able to make a decision, that I wasn't a victim to the situation, that I could make a decision to come out of this. And so this is what I wrote. Every day I work for this. Every day I search for worth inside this sort of worthless mess. Do I deserve this gift? But when I slide these lyrics from my lips, I feel some sort of purpose in it. Like I was made to do it. Like I was made to fluidly move you watch to this music. And I pursue it like love is in the last scene of a movie. Till there's nothing left to say. One of us is dead like Romeo and Juliet. Hold me to this. I load and shoot this, birth the verses and hope to you that they be congruent and fueling a positive recruitment. A juice profuse that uses the booster of usefulness. I fire this bazooka of truth is the future Eucharist. I'm alive and I got the fire, bro. Who would guess that all this bullish what would be used to get you and I to be divided less? I kinda guess that I was sent to find dividing lines and rhyme till we connect. And rhyme till we connect. You and I to be divided less. I kinda guess that I was sent to find dividing lines and rhyme till we connect. And rhyme till we connect. Rhyme. Whoa.
So before we close out, tell me where people can see you live. Where's your next show?
My next show is actually this today up in Austin at Hive Minds. It's like it's like a artist collective, but they also like put on shows, and they're also like a hair salon, I want to say. But I really wanted to talk about so Queers and Beers is the kind of the big show that's coming up at the end of the month. It's going to be September 27th, so Thursday. Moody Black, myself, and Natalia Glenn, newer artist here in San Antonio, and just a really good mix of people.
And that's at the Mix.
That's at the Mix, yeah.
Cool. And people can find you on all the platforms, I'm sure. Just search Chris Conde, Conde.
Yeah. So Instagram, Chris Conde the rapper. Facebook, Chris Conde, Twitter, all that, Chris Conde. So I'm everywhere.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your music with us today.
Yeah, really thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Our first rapper.
Am I really?
Yeah, you broke the mold. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.